A lot of my students have had the privilege of teaching them for like several years, so you really get to know them over time. I think one of the best things to see is like when they can achieve something that they've been like working towards, and just how like happy and fulfilled you can see that makes them. A few of my students, like one of the biggest changes I notice is not just musically but behaviorally. I think a lot of them have changed in a positive way. You know, they're becoming more mature. A lot of them are going from that like elementary school age to like middle school age. So that can be a tough transition, you know, as they feel like they have more responsibility put on them. Like overall maturity is like one of the biggest growing points I see with a lot of the students that I've taught for a couple years now. And it's nice to see the change over how long I know them, where they're like using skills or things that like I've told them in class, like, hey, is that a good way to treat your bow? Should we be doing that? Is that a nice thing to say to someone? Stuff like that. And now they can almost just do that for each other, and I don't have to say things as much now, which is a really cool place to be, that they understand how it works so well that they can now like advise their peers. I think there's 3 students, and they're all friends, you know. I've been teaching Sinzo, Ariel, and Daniel for quite some time, and they're all kind of a little different in their development, you know. They're their own people, even though they are really good friends and they like to hang out a lot. For the first like good amount of time that I taught them, there was kind of the inclination to, you know, like fool around and all that stuff with their friends, but I think over time they got away from that, you know, and now they can be with each other in class and can actually like function and stay focused like while we're going through different music things. And I also think like musically that they're all doing amazing. They always want to know more, you know. They're always begging to like learn a new technique or do something that maybe some of our like advanced ensemble kids are doing. They always want to do better, you know. They're not afraid to try things, and I saw that especially from Ariel, because he was a little bit more reserved when I first started teaching him, and now when we do improv or I need someone to volunteer for something in class, he's like the first one ready. And even musically with like Sinzo, he had trouble reading music for a while, and now he takes initiative. He actually will like get out his music. He'll say like, Miss Julia, I don't know what this one is, but I know what this one is, and he'll try to figure out the answer, and if he doesn't know, he'll let me know. Yeah. But ultimately he's letting me know what he needs, and it shows that he cares, you know, that there's some sort of investment in there. He wants to do well. I think it can be like as small as like someone raises their hand who usually doesn't, you know. I think that represents a step forward, and it's kind of different for each student, you know, because they all have their own things that they're working on, and you know that I talk to them about, whether that's like behavior or music wise. So yeah, I think overall things that we celebrate a lot aren't like, oh my gosh, we know how to play this like super hard piece, which yes, there's a time for that usually towards the end of the semester, but up until then it's like, well, you tried something new. Oh, you learned how to tune your instrument. You tried to use your pegs for the first time, or like you helped your stand partner when they didn't understand something. I think all those are things to be celebrated and kind of go big, you know, make them feel like they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I notice you talk a lot sort of about like these little initiatives of like, students find themselves in situations and they make like a good choice on their own. And I think that's really remarkable because, thinking about Buffalo Stringworks, that's not something that like, and I'm asking, but it's not something that like we really like teach to the students or or directly sort of like outline to them that we want to be a goal. Like of course, like Buffalo Stringworks sets out to develop those leadership skills, but I think it's really remarkable that like the students aren't told that we want that kind of growth in them, but they just exhibit it out.
They do. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that go into that before that can ever start to happen. They need to see consistency, they need to see it modeled for them, and then have the freedom to like make their own choice, and then acknowledge them and celebrate when they do make that good choice. And then I think it happens more and more often. But yeah, I think just like giving them the space to do it. Like, all right, well, this is option A, this is option B. You're in control. You have the power to make the choice you want to make, but just know with every choice there are consequences, So I think that they get that over time as things are laid out for them. I think it all begins with trust. We're two people connecting over something, a shared interest or goal. And I think that showing up for them, being consistent, kind of being their cheerleader, allows for that positive growth inside to happen for them. Everything from the techniques, the scales, the music we do, all of it is informed by student input. At least that's how I prefer to do it with my students. There's a lot more excitement and want to do well and succeed when they have some say, and that completely makes sense. That's just like a human thing. So a lot of that is allowing them to make their own decisions and kind of show me what journey they want to go on and what they want to learn about, what they're interested in, and with sprinkles here and there of me saying like, well, we got to learn this thing. This is a non-negotiable, but the other things, let's make a plan, let's think of how we get there, and really just trying to listen to them. Up until this year, Zunu was in Team D, our youngest team, and in most ways like the beginners. And she was at an interesting position, which some of our students find themselves in, where maybe their age isn't comparable to the next like team up or level up, you could say, but their playing level is getting there and they're kind of surpassing their classmates, and it's time to, make a change, right? Because we don't want them sitting there like, well, I can already play Twinkle Twinkle. What is left there for me? And that's kind of where Zunu was at. And when she joined class, it's definitely like a learning curve. You're going from, and while all of our students at Niagara Street, a lot of them know each other, and by her moving up into this class, she ended up actually being with her older brother in class. So a lot of dynamics there, like all of a sudden now you're with kids that are maybe a little older than you. You're with your older brother and his friends. Like that can be challenging. That can be hard. And there are different expectations when you go from Team D, where she was at, to Team C. Team D, a lot of they're doing beginner things, they're on their open strings, they're learning how to use their bow and how to like coordinate left and right and make it all make sense, right? So from there, then learning, all right, well, now there's other things I have to do with my fingers. I have to learn how to sit in a chair with good posture. And also just I have to focus longer in class and read music. Those are all different things that she's had to kind of navigate. And luckily, I think Andy and other teachers like Tajay works with Zunu as well, to kind of bridge that gap. Tajay would give Zunu some private lessons and still does. And I think that was like one of the most helpful things, along with Zunu getting experience in being in small group and large group with the rest of her classmates. In the beginning, I'd say like behavior and focus was really, really challenging. You know, it was a lot of different dynamics than she was used to, but over time I've seen her excel. She's like learning how things work, learning the expectations, and when she like sets her mind to it, she can understand and play just as well as a majority of her classmates now, which is astonishing because they've been playing the instruments for different amount of time, you know, and she's going real far. I'm curious to see what'll happen, and you know, just how much progress she'll make.
Yeah.
Being so young and being with like older students, I think that she'll have an interesting perspective the longer that she's with us. So, yeah.
Awesome.